1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Mandolin land, Mike Hedding here, coming to you today with a mandolin lesson for the old classic fiddle tune, Forked Deer in the key of D. I've heard this one called Forked Deer, Forked Deer, Forky Deary. That's a lot of different names. I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it, but it's a great old tune. And I've got an A part, a basic A part, an A part variation, and then a basic B part and a B part variation. This fiddle tune has a lot of classic licks in the key of D, a lot of good scale licks, a lot of good picking practice, so we're going to work on a bunch of skills for this lesson. I listed it as an intermediate lesson, but I think a beginner could get this one with some practice as well. I'm going to break down all the solos note for note, and then show you a bunch of backup I would do for this song. So we're going to start with just 2-finger chords, and then we'll move them into some different chop shapes and some different movable, open chord shapes you can use for the song. Again, a lot of backup stuff you could use for a lot of classic fiddle tunes. A ton of fiddle tunes are in the key of D, so a lot of these ideas you could apply to other tunes as well. And if you're watching the preview of this lesson, you can head over to my website, MikeHeddingMusic.com, and grab the full lesson. You'll get access to watch all the videos, and you can download the tabs and the practice tracks. Alright, here's Forked Deer in the key of D. Alright, let's start breaking down the basic A part to Forked Deer. Remember, we're in the key of D. So let me play the first 5 measures, and then I'll start breaking it down. Here we go. Do that a few times. One more time, really slow. Okay, so measure 1 is just going to be the pickup to the solo. So the basic A part actually starts in measure 2. So for measure 1, we're going to start on the and of beat 3. So this is, I'll give you 2 ways to do this. One is a little bit more tricky, and the second way will be a little simpler. So for the tricky way, and as written, we're going to start on the and of beat 3. So 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to start with an upstroke with our right hand. Really important. You'll see the pick direction below the tab. So the staple-looking symbols are downstrokes. The V-looking symbols are upstrokes. So really important to follow the pick direction on this lesson. That'll really help you play the timing. So again, we're going to count 1, 2, 3, and then again, we're going to play on the and of B3. So and 4 and. So and of B3 is open A string, and then 2nd fret on the A string, and then 4th fret. So we're just trying to get up to this 5th fret, which is our D note on the A string. So we're basically just walking up to that note. And that 5th fret starts measure 2. So we have 1, 2, 3. And that's really important that you do an upstroke to start it, because then you have and 4 and. Because you want this measure 2 starting note to be a downstroke. So really important, again, we're starting on an and, so we're going to play on an upstroke. Downbeat, downstrokes on downbeats, upstrokes on upbeats. If you wanted a simpler version, you could play 1, 2, 3, and then just play 2 notes, 4 and, play open on the A string, and then 4th fret. It'd basically be the same thing, but it'd be a little bit easier because you can start with a downstroke instead of... So it's either 1, 2, 3, and 4 and, or 1, 2, 3, 4 and. Okay? So 2 ways to do that. So not too hard, just practice it. The other thing I'd recommend is keeping your fingers down. Don't do this, where you kind of lift your fingers up behind. Try and keep all your fingers down. That's good stretching practice, and it's good tone practice. Okay? So that's into measure 2. And then for the beginning of measure 2, let me play measure 2 and then I'll break it down. So we're going to go up the notes of a D scale starting on the 5th fret of the A string with a down, and then open high E with an up, and then 2, 3, down, up, and then the 5th fret with a down, and then 5, 2, down, up. So we have 1 and 2 and 3, 4 and. Again, practice keeping these fingers down if you can. Especially your first finger, because you're going to be going right back to that note. So it's really good practice for a couple of reasons. One, it's good ear training to hear that. It's basically like the do, re, mi, you know, the first 5 notes of a scale. So that's good ear training. The other thing we're doing there is we're playing like the heavy melody notes on the downbeat, which happen to be the arpeggios of the chord. So the arpeggios are the notes that make up the chord. D, F sharp, A. So again, if we played just the down strokes of measure 2, we'd have, and then we'd have the 8th notes at the end, but so those are, I'm not embedding those arpeggios, the notes of the chord, on the downbeats. That helps really solidify the melody. Those notes are also just really safe in the key of D, so it's another reason why it works good. But it's also good practice on hearing how to fill in those upstrokes with other notes. So instead of going, now we're going. So you can play those back to back and be good practice. Your pick direction is really important there, so you play the timing correctly. Very common in fiddle tunes for mandolin or fiddle to, again, take a basic melody and then fill it up with more notes in the scale. So that's all we're doing there. So let's do it one more time. Let's do measures 1 and 2 together. So 1, 2, 3. And then measure 3, we're going to play 3rd fret on the high E with a downstroke. And then 3, 5, 3, down, up, down. And then down the scale. So we have, and then right here, really important, do an upstroke on the 4th fret of the A string. So we have, and that's going to set me up to play my next downstroke on the 5th fret. So the pick direction is really important. So we have, that's really good practice. It's great practice on minimizing your left hand movement too. Keep your hand, I have my 3rd finger hopefully hovering over these 5th frets, my 1st finger hovering over the 2nd fret, and my 2nd finger hovering over the 3rd fret. And then measure 4, we play that same opening melody line in measure 2. So that's all the same. And then measure 5, we have a run down the scale. This is over an A chord. 3, 2, open on the high E. 5th fret on the A string with an upstroke. And then 4, open, 2, 4. So that's basically back to our pickup. So we have, and then right here is our same pickup. So see how that connects together? And then we'd be back to the 5th fret for the start of measure 6. So let's play those first 5 measures. Here we go. I'll do it really slow. 1, 2, 3. A little faster. Even a little faster. Okay, so some classic scale runs in this lesson. Pretty easy so far. So the other thing you could practice with this lesson is playing it with some swing. So So maybe like in a Western swing style or Texas swing, you might play this song with a little bit more swing. But for me, I usually like to start with it, all the notes, you know, straight and even, and then I find it's easier to swing it after the fact. That's what I recommend, is start with all the notes evenly spaced apart, and then once you get it down, you can add the swing. All right, let's take it from measure 6. Measure 6 and 7 are the same as 2 and 3, so we're back to our opening melody line. And then we have our classic fiddle ending here, measures 8 and 9. Let me play it and then I'll break it down. So we're going to hit the 5th fret on the A string with a quarter note, and then 4th fret on the D string. So a little bit of a jump there, so you have, and then a little run, 5, 5th fret on the D string, 2 open on the A, back to the 5th fret. So you have, that's good practice there. And then a little ending lick. So 4 open on the D string, 2 2nd fret, and then 6th fret on the low string with an up, and then open D, and then we go back up and play our pickup. So you have, you could grab this 6th fret with your pinky if you absolutely had to, but I think your 3rd finger is easier. So the second half of the A part, the basic A part, is very similar. Even if you memorize the first 2 measures, you'd have basically 50% of the A part down. And then, again, we're going to use this phrase a bunch. One more thing I'll say about this fiddle tune is it follows a very common form, which I call 1, 2, 1, 3, or A, B, A, C. So we have our opening phrase. I'll skip the pickup so you can hear it, but so our opening phrase is phrase 1. Now we have phrase 2, which is basically the response. Now we're back to phrase 1, so our same opening melody line. Now phrase 3, our ending. A lot of fiddle tunes follow this format. Whiskey Before Breakfast, St. Anne's Reel, a ton of fiddle tunes in D, 1, 2, 1, 3. So again, if you can remember that, 1, it's a spot you can create variations. Maybe I play the first phrase the same. Now right here, I'm back to phrase 1, so maybe I play a little variation. You know, again, it gives you a spot to create a variation in the song because you've already played that opening melody line, phrase 1. You've already, you know, played that and showed that to the listener. The other thing is just helpful for memorizing the song. If you can memorize phrase 1, you have 50% of the A part already down. Now you just have to remember phrase 2 and 3. If you can make sense of the song in your mind, that's going to really help you learn the song faster, remember it, create variations on the melody. So follow that form. Let's play the basic melody A part one more time. Here we go. Now let's break down the A part variation.